breaking news. It is Vladimir Putin further escalating really the war on Ukraine. Putin announcing martial law in those 4 Ukrainian regions the Kremlin claims to have annexed in those sham referendum. Let's get you out live there to Ukraine. Our correspondent Shelby Wilder is in Lviv. What is the latest that you're hearing there from the ground, Shelby?
Hi, Bianca. It's great to be with you. Well, as you mentioned, the sort of breaking news is that today Russian President Vladimir Putin announced that he would be imposing martial law in eastern Ukraine. This is specifically in Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. These are the 4 territories that Putin illegally annexed and now has claimed as part of the Russian Federation. Of course, that received global condemnation and was deemed to be illegitimate. And we should just note that these 4 territories are not under full Russian control. And that's really because of the success of Ukraine's military as they continue to press into these occupied regions, applying pressure on Russian forces and the Kremlin. And really, this news by Putin today comes amidst increasing concern from pro-Russian officials in these territories as they see the gains made by Ukraine's military. We saw that in the region of Kherson, the Russian-backed governor there called on Moscow last week to help with the evacuation of residents. Reports are saying that at least 50,000 people are being moved from Kherson. We believe that some of these people might be forcibly deported. They're being told to go to Russia to spare themselves from the fighting that's expected to take place in the Battle of Kherson, really in the near future. And again, we should note that if Russian forces are to lose this strategic and symbolic city of Kherson, this will deal a significant blow to Russian forces, to their morale, but really to Putin. And it just shows, again, this series of significant setbacks he's been facing on the battlefield. And this is something that could really challenge his rule. And that's why people here are becoming increasingly concerned over the potential use of chemical weapons, of weapons of mass destruction, something like a tactical nuke being used here on the battlefield as Putin is getting desperate and again continues to lose ground in these 4 territories that he claims are a part of Russia, even though he no longer fully controls them. And cutting over just very briefly to the other breaking news here in Ukraine, there continues to be attacks across the country. We know that Kyiv has been under attack again today. Thankfully, Ukraine's air defense has been working. They've been shooting down missiles. We know that so far today, they've shot down 4 cruise missiles and 8 drones that have been launched at Ukraine. We know that in Kyiv, residents there have been under air raid sirens. They've been in bomb shelters. We've also been under air raid sirens here in Lviv. And just following the attacks that have happened this week, we know that on Monday, at least 5 civilians were killed, and yesterday, 3 civilians were killed. This is separate from the attacks that happened last week in Kyiv, again, where residents came under attack. And this is really because Putin has been stepping up his increasing barrage on civilians. It started last Monday, and we saw him carrying out attacks across Ukraine on critical infrastructure like power plants, and also attacking civilian infrastructure here. But this is really, we're going to see how this unfolds with these attacks on Kyiv and the rest of the country this week.
All right, Shelby, we want you to stay safe. We appreciate that. Obviously, there's been a big development there with that martial law being imposed. Thank you for that live update from Lviv.
No crooked establishment.
None of that twisting the
truth.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax.
Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think.
They let
me decide.
Newsmax.
Real news
For real people.